All right, massive breaking news. The White House is scrambling to hold an emergency meeting in order to block the release of more Epstein files. This comes only a few hours after Democrats on the House Oversight Committee released multiple emails showing Jeffrey Epstein and journalist Michael Wolff talking about Donald Trump's deep interactions with not only Epstein, not only Ghislaine Maxwell, but Trump also spending hours with victims of Epstein. I'll go through the emails in just 1 second, but the update that we just received now is that the Trump admin planning a meeting over House efforts to force the release of all of the DOJ's Epstein files. What we see is a split in the Republican Party between people who want transparency, people like, surprisingly, Lauren Boebert, Marjorie Taylor Greene, a few key players who we don't agree with on almost anything, are actually out there trying to force the release of these files. I mean, Lauren Boebert, I don't agree with on anything, but she's been out there talking to the victims more so than like Speaker of the House Mike Johnson. So there is a difference between the way that they are operating. Now, Donald Trump is holding a secretive meeting, not so secretive now, with all of the Republicans who are defecting, who are detracting and trying to make sure that the files are released. That's why we just learned, just a few minutes ago, top Trump admin officials are planning to meet Wednesday about an effort in the U.S. House to force a vote on releasing the Justice Department case files related to Jeffrey Epstein. Just to back up, the reason why they're scrambling is because the content in these files. Jeffrey Epstein said to journalist Michael Wolff back in 2011, he says, "I want you to realize that the dog that hasn't barked is Trump. Blank victim spent hours at my house with him. He has never once been mentioned, police chief, etc. I'm 75% there." So essentially, Jeffrey Epstein and Richard Wolff then talk about how they can blackmail Donald Trump. In these emails, they talk about how they can blackmail Donald Trump. 2 years, 3 years into Trump's presidency, Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide. To continue, Jeffrey Epstein in 2018 also said, "I know how dirty Donald is." This one reads, "It makes no difference whether it was his money. Issued his failure to disclose, plus the fact that he lied his ass off about making it clear that he knew it was illegal." Jeffrey Epstein says, "I think he makes the argument that it was his, Trump's money, making it not illegal. Though he also said he only found out afterwards." At the very, very top, Epstein says, "You see, I know how dirty Donald is. My guess is that non-lawyers..."
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, go ahead, hit that subscribe button, tap the like button so the algorithm knows you want the real commentary. And ring that notification bell so you never miss a breakdown of the latest political chaos. Now, if you've been here before, you already know. When the headlines go wide, we dig in even wider. And today we've got a full-blown MAGA meltdown. The political internet is on fire because, brace yourself, President Trump is allegedly scrambling to block the release of more Epstein files after Democrats dropped a batch of Trump-related Epstein emails. Yes, I'm sure you must have heard it. You heard that right? The same Trump who loudly insists he's totally innocent, knows nothing, and never even liked the guy. He's suddenly calling for an emergency meeting the moment more documents start surfacing. Almost like he doesn't want something getting out. But hey, who are we to speculate? We're just observers watching the world's messiest reality show unfold.
Did President Trump just ensure the Epstein files will never see the light of day? It's definitely possible. And it happened right in front of our eyes today. This morning, President Trump posted this to his social media page, directing the Attorney General Pam Bondi to launch a brand new Epstein investigation into the convicted sex offender's involvement and relationship with Bill Clinton, Larry Summers, Reid Hoffman, J.P. Morgan Chase, and many other people and institutions. He says, all arrows pointing to Democrats. A few hours after that, Attorney General Pam Bondi said, "Thank you, Mr. President. I'm on it." She announced the appointment of a U.S. attorney from the Southern District of New York to head up that brand new Epstein investigation. So how in the world could these two social media posts hide the Epstein files from all of us? Well, because no prosecutor, even your local district attorney, would never release any files related to any ongoing investigation. That would compromise witnesses and evidence and their potential cases, and it just doesn't happen. And now that Trump has ordered a brand new investigation to open into Epstein, it is very possible that even if Congress votes to release the entire Epstein file through that discharge petition next week, the Department of Justice will say, nope, can't do it. We've got an ongoing investigation. Now, there are a ton of questions about this move by the president and the attorney general. First and foremost, just a few months ago in July, Attorney General Pam Bondi released this short memo saying the Epstein matter was closed because after an investigation, the DOJ and the FBI found no more credible evidence of any more co-conspirators associated with Epstein, and there was nothing more that the DOJ would release to the public. Remember that? So if that was true then, and there was nothing more to the case back then, why does the Attorney General now think it's appropriate to open a brand new investigation? Secondly, President Trump has said repeatedly this whole Epstein matter is a hoax. So if that's true, then why does he want an investigation? Usually you don't waste millions and millions and millions of taxpayer dollars on a hoax. And third, if President Trump does believe a new investigation is warranted into Epstein, why only look at Democrats? If you're going to open it back up, why not look into everyone who is allegedly involved? We will have to see what happens next week when the House votes on this discharge petition. It's still very possible that if lawmakers overwhelmingly vote to release the file and they get that veto-proof majority that I talked all about in this video, it's possible that the political pressure will force the release of the files. But then again, you just never know.
Breaking news this Friday the 14th, we are learning that Trump is putting increasing pressure on Republicans to stop the vote for the Epstein files to be released. This is significant. After Donald Trump found out about 2 Republicans that were on that petition to help get it released, he decided to find who he thought were the weakest ones and tried to summon them to the Situation Room. Lauren Boebert and Nancy Mace, they did not crack. This meeting included Attorney General Pam Bondi and FBI Director Kash Patel. We are also learning that Trump tried to phone Lauren Boebert early one day before Adelita Grijalva was sworn in. And again, he tried to reach out to Nancy Mace multiple times, but they just could not connect. Instead, Nancy Mace wrote the president a long explanation explaining why she could not rescind her vote and describing how she is also a survivor of sexual abuse and rape, which is why it is impossible for her to change her vote to get these petitions released. She also wrote on X that the Epstein petition is deeply personal. Those failed lobbying attempts by the White House comes as Democrats released 3 damning emails that proved Trump knew about the victims at Epstein's estate, including an email where the convicted pedophile says about Trump, of course Trump knew about the girls. Another email described Trump as the dog who hasn't barked and describes how Trump spent hours with one of Epstein's victims at his house. The president's team obviously struck back and said those documents had been cherry-picked and followed up with the Republicans releasing a trove of 20,000 more documents. But here's the thing. They never admitted that the documents were false. They just said they were cherry-picked.
I keep hearing this refrain from people on the left about Trump and Epstein that's driving me absolutely crazy, and it goes something like this. This won't even make a difference, or we already knew this, or his supporters won't even care. And first, let me say I understand. You're frustrated. Trump has dodged at least 500 scandals that would be career-ending for anyone else. But if that's the response you're putting out into the world, you should know that defeatism isn't a hot take. It doesn't make you edgy or realistic. It just means that you're doing Trump's job for him. And by the way, I think you're wrong. Do you remember when Elon Musk posted that it was, quote, time to drop the really big bomb, Trump is in the Epstein files, and conservatives lost their minds and started calling him crazy? Turns out that was the understatement of the century, because this week we received 20,000 pages of Epstein documents from his estate, which is entirely separate from the DOJ's Epstein files, and Trump was mentioned at least 1,500 times. And let me be clear, Trump wanted these documents to come out. They were released by House Republicans as a cover against releasing the full DOJ files on Epstein. That's why Trump keeps bragging that the Oversight Committee has released 50,000 pages. Trump knows exactly what's in these files. A few months ago, Pam Bondi assigned 1,000 FBI agents to comb through them and flag every single mention of Trump. Do you really think she didn't share that with him? Trump has never worked harder in his life than he has to stop the release of the Epstein files. Regardless of your opinion, he clearly thinks that it would make a difference if they were released. So spare me the it won't matter takes. Politics isn't the art of expressing your opinion. It's the science of building common cause. And giving into cynicism doesn't help our cause. It only helps Trump's. So share this video and follow me to stay in the fight.
So Trumpy's having a bad day. He has called an emergency meeting because now that we have 218 votes and signatures, they're going to open the Epstein files. But after the emails they opened today, he's freaking out. So he called an emergency meeting with Kash Patel and Kristi Noem. Wait, is it Kristi Noem? It's not Kristi. Who is that other blonde bimbo? Who cares? But they're bringing in Lauren Boebert and Nancy Mace and pressuring them to take their names off of the petition to open the Epstein files. They're absolutely freaking out, and they're going to try to blackmail them or pressure them or bribe them to get them to take their names off that petition so that we don't have the 218 votes that we need to open the Epstein files. So Donnie's having a shit, especially after the emails that were exposed today, and it should be fun.
Breaking news, have you heard about the email from Jeffrey Epstein's brother Mark asking Jeffrey to ask Steve Bannon, does Putin have photos of Donald Trump doing something with Bubba? And you know what I'm talking about. We're on TikTok, so I'm going to be really careful. And Bubba is a reference to Bill Clinton, for those of you that don't know. Bubba. What? So instead of Monica Lewinsky, we've now got Adonica Lewinsky. Maybe no wonder they don't want those files coming out. It's not just teenage girls. Oh my gosh, this is cray-cray. I mean, but it's in there. It was released. This was written back in 2018. And who knows what all's in those files, but it's clearly not good. And if it were, they would release the files. If there was nothing in the files and people in the White House didn't have anything to worry about, there'd be no problem releasing these files. We would have had them months ago when they promised they would. You know, Pam Bondi said she was going to release the files. Right. They were on her desk. Right. We seen those files. No. You know why? Love to hear from my Democrats and my MAGAs, my crazies, my cuckoos, and my burn hill labels. What do you think about Donica Lewinsky? Oh my God. Who knows?
We have major breaking news right now, complete chaos in the White House over the fact that the Epstein files discharge petition may hit 218 signatures. They just called an emergency meeting, according to CNN, of top Justice Department officials, including Todd Blanche, the Deputy Attorney General, the Attorney General Pam Bondi, and Kash Patel, the FBI Director, alongside Lauren Boebert. Donald Trump has personally called both Lauren Boebert and Nancy Mace in an effort to try to have them remove their names from the Epstein discharge petition. They're two of the four Republicans who have signed on. The other two are Thomas Massie and Marjorie Taylor Greene, neither of whom have signed or will remove their names. But there is a full court press happening right now as increased panic within the White House sets in that the Epstein files may soon become public, or that the House of Representatives may soon vote, a full House of Representatives vote, on whether to release the files publicly. We'll see what happens. It's going to be a full court press over the next few hours. Spread the word. Full updates on my Substack, linked in bio, so subscribe for free. Follow along, stay up to date on all the news that you need to know about. More to come.
It has been confirmed on multiple news sources that the White House called the Republican representatives who are going to vote in favor of releasing the Epstein files and begged them not to vote yes to release the files. Why would you need to call and beg the Republican Party members who want to release these files? Why would you call them if you were innocent? Why would you beg them if you were innocent? Here's some other news that reached out about Epstein. Ghislaine Maxwell, you remember when she was moved from a normal high security prison to basically a country club prison? Well, she's been receiving customized meals personally delivered to her cells, after hours time in a private executive area, and access to a service puppy. If you're in prison, you shouldn't have access to hush puppies, let alone a service puppy. Are you freaking kidding me? The preferential treatment of Ghislaine Maxwell has reached such preposterous levels that one of the top officials at the facility has complained that he is sick of having to be Maxwell's bitch. This is a person who went to prison for sex trafficking underage girls. This is a person who is covering up for the President of the United States who had sex with underage girls. And he denies it. I know he denies it. But if he's denying it and if he's innocent, why is he begging Republican Congresspeople to not vote yes to release the Epstein files? Just let it come out. If you have nothing to hide, let it come out. And then just let it disappear if you have nothing to hide. By the way, there's also been unconfirmed reports that this guy had an emergency trip to Walter Reed Medical Center last weekend. There's a motorcade going towards that direction. I find that report a little bit hard to believe because I feel as if the press that travels with him would have said something or would have come out. But just unconfirmed reports. This guy's not long for this world, ladies and gentlemen. He's sick. And these guys here, they were best friends.
All right, so let's walk through this mess step by step. Because the timeline alone is raising enough eyebrows to give everyone a permanent forehead wrinkle. It starts with Democrats releasing newly unsealed Epstein-related emails that allegedly involve Trump. Instantly, the MAGA sphere goes into DEFCON 1. And then, surprise, surprise, the president reportedly calls for an urgent emergency meeting. Now, when most presidents call an emergency meeting, it's for something like national security, foreign crisis, a natural disaster, something consequential. But an emergency meeting because files about Epstein might drop. That's a level of priority only seen when someone hears the phrase, "We need to talk," from their partner. You know the feeling. And while the mainstream media politely calls this concerning timing, let's be honest, it looks like Trump heard footsteps and sprinted to the panic button. If he really had nothing to hide, wouldn't he be saying, release everything immediately? Transparency. Instead, we're getting block it, stop it, slow it down, start. But hey, as Trump always reminds everyone, he's innocent. Completely innocent. So innocent that any attempt to reveal information must be stopped immediately. Because that's how innocent people behave, right? By slamming every door shut as fast as possible. Now, just imagine, I didn't do anything wrong, officer, but don't you dare open that glove compartment. Now, let's be fair. There are a ton of powerful people entangled in the Epstein files. Democrats, Republicans, CEOs, actors, foreign royalty, you name it. So yes, outrage about releasing the files could, in theory, come from anywhere. But when a specific person jumps up before anyone else asks about it, that's when people start asking even more questions. And the irony. For years, MAGA influencers have been insisting Epstein's secret would take down the elites. Now, suggesting everyone except Trump was involved. Now, they built entire online empires on that conspiracy. But now, the documents with Trump's name involved are circulating. Suddenly, it's witch hunting, fake, deep state sabotage, unfair, political motivated, and we need emergency action immediately. The plot twist writes itself. Let's also talk about the optics, because politically, this is a nightmare. Trump's whole brand is built on being the outsider who has nothing to hide. But when you try to block the release of information, especially about something as serious and disturbing as the Epstein network, you start to look less like a crusader for justice and more like someone hoping the light switch stays off. Now, even people who support him are confused. MAGA forums are split between this is fake news and, well, maybe everyone was at Epstein's parties accidentally. Accidentally? Imagine accidentally ending up on a private jet with Epstein. Oops. Didn't see that happening today. Sarcasm aside, it's a serious topic. Epstein's crimes were horrific, and the survivors deserve transparency and justice, no matter who is impacted. And that includes any president, past or present. The real question isn't just, is Trump blocking more files? It's, why does he feel the need to? If he truly never had involvement, wouldn't the release of these documents prove him right and strengthen his case? Wouldn't full disclosure be in his best interest? Unless, of course, the truth isn't as flattering as the public statements. But we're just asking questions. The same way MAGA likes to ask questions when it's about anyone else. Now, at the end of the day, the facts are still unfolding. But one thing is clear, when the Epstein files move, the political world gets nervous. And Trump just got very nervous. Emergency meeting level nervous. Whether that's justified or self-inflicted panic, time will tell. But what do you think? Tell me your thoughts. Does Trump's rush to block the files make him look guilty? You think that? Is this just political gamesmanship? And why would an innocent person fear transparency? And should all Epstein documents be released to the public with no exceptions, no matter which powerful names appear? Drop your thoughts below in the comment section because this conversation is just getting started. And as always, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share this breakdown. I'll see you guys in the next video. Credit belongs to original creators.